ready to rock and roll right now.
Yeah.
So
I'll never be ready, but let's go.
And make it happen, and we are live as of now. So, let's start, bitches. The views and opinions of this show is not necessarily the views and opinions of the National Hockey League, its affiliates, or sponsors. A Shot from the Point contains dark humor and foul language and is intended for mature audiences only. To summarize the previous,
you fuckers.
This isn't your grandma's radio show, and I'm not Foster Hewitt.
You're listening to the most badass hockey podcast in all of no land. This is A
Shot from the Point, coming at you live and on demand. I've been waiting to say that for a long time. This is the most badass hockey podcast in all the known man's land. Ladies and gentlemen, this is none other than A Shot from the Point after an epic Stanley Cup final going 6 games right up into the last literal seconds. The Chicago Blackhawks managed to score 2 within 14 seconds, leaving Boston only a minute. Tried as they might, it wasn't meant to be. Patrick Kane is given and awarded the Conn Smythe Trophy for the best player, most valuable player in the playoffs. And, of course, the Stanley Cup is given to the Chicago Blackhawks. An absolutely epic night. Very exciting. I've got 2 point men here today. 2. 1.
Yeah, we might only have one for a little while because I might off myself.
Maybe I should introduce Mr. Joe Cronin, Boston friend. Probably extremely disappointed without tonight's outcome. Definitely looking forward to your opinions. And, of course, legendary Jake Link. Jake, how are you?
I'm doing good. It feels better to not have my team losing a game 6.
Yeah, you mentioned this earlier. You said if you really hated a team, you'd rather them go to game 7 or something and lose because it's much worse than not making the playoffs. That's the first thing I thought of when the third goal was scored was Jake's curse to teams that beat the Devils. So, hey, listen. Listen, before we go any further, if you're listening to this live right now, the quality isn't what you normally expect. That's because it's being streamed on Google Hangouts. So, listen, we'll see how it goes. This is really a work in progress for next year, so don't get mad at me. Cut, edited, clean, beautiful-sounding episode will be on its way to your doorstep. Also, the other thing that's important, this is not a visual podcast. I'm having extreme computer problems, like major encoding issues, like my computer's burning out because the encoding's taking so long. That'll be fixed by next year. It will not be fixed tonight. Mr. Joe Cornyn of the Joe Cornyn Show was kind enough, and I would say kind of ballsy enough to join us here today. You have no idea whether we're going to bust your balls or not. How are you feeling right now, buddy?
I feel like I should go on a run, like that Forrest Gump, that moment when he just decides, "Fuck it, I'm gonna run forever," like in the movie. Like that's. I feel like I need to do that, and then after that, I might be okay.
I think I should just go home now.
All right.
In the middle of the Arizona desert.
Yeah, there's a horrific lightning storm outside. The Boston Bruins ice was melting half of the game. Like it's just, oh.
Yeah, I heard Doc Emmerich say the humidity was 50%, and then it went to 85%.
Yeah,
over there in Boston.
We're gonna get a tornado here sometime soon, I think. There's going to be a tornado in Boston if this weather keeps going up like this.
Let me ask you guys. We definitely got to talk about the game because I keep on listening to last week's show and I'm kicking myself. We barely talked about the Stanley Cup, and I'm really mad at myself for not doing this. And we're going to pretty much talk about the entire Stanley Cup this episode, and it's the last one. I think what happened there at the end, both teams were very even. When the second goal was scored, and I smelled it coming. I felt like, well, this is definitely going to overtime. And I think that was the problem for Boston is because they felt the same way I did. Okay, another overtime. They seemed to fall asleep at the last seconds there. And you can't do that in a situation like that. And, of course, a team like the Chicago Blackhawks are more than willing to capitalize on it. Am I off here?
No, well, you know what?
No.
You know what happened in this game was in every game, Boston and Chicago, mostly Boston, they'll play a different type of game. And I think you saw every type of game in this one game. In the first period, when the Bruins play like they did, when they push balls to the wall and they go crazy, they're able to beat you. They're able to beat Chicago. And then in the second period, they kind of they went to sleep a little bit, and that's when Chicago scored.
Well, do you
and
think
then
that was
when they
sleep?
started trading chances in the third period, and it was tied, that's when it was like, well, we're not going to win this if this is the way it goes.
No.
If we're not if we're not ramping it up the whole time, they're going to beat us because this is Chicago. This is the team I picked to win the Stanley Cup at the beginning of the season, despite being a Bruins fan.
Yeah, well, I know you've always, even though your heart is crushed right now, but your mind has been very sharp throughout the whole playoffs and what have you. And you've been very fair, and you did predict that if you weren't a Bruins fan, that Chicago would more than likely move on. I am a little surprised. I thought we'd see a game 7. I thought that the Bruins would be able to pull us. I was absolutely confident there would be a game 7, and it's because of the ice and because of the style the Bruins play lends itself to choppy ice. But it's like I said, they just fell asleep a little in the end.
You know what? The Bruins actually, up until like those last 5 minutes of the game, Bruins dominated. They were winning face-offs. That last power play, they weren't even letting Chicago get into the zone.
No, you're right. And Dan said they kind of lost it, and then they ended up playing a run and gun game. But do you think that was Dan? I'm sorry, Joe.
That's all right.
I know.
Same name.
Your real name is but we're trying to keep the radio shtick going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're live, so I really blew it for you. Do you think it was a matter of maybe just not dropping down an inch, but not actually physically being capable of keeping that intensity up? I mean that's a long time to stay. And Jake's absolutely right. They did dominate the first period, and I would say halfway through the second. But how long can you do that? How long can you come out with that kind of intensity? You saw Jágr limping around the ice. You saw, obviously Bergeron's not 100%. It was just simple wear and tear because of the Boston style.
Yeah, this is that situation where some Bruins fans or some people may start bringing up the Bergeron looks messed up. Jágr was messed up. Campbell's not there, and the bench it's taking its toll on the people who are still able to play a game. But really, what it is despite all that, with a minute and 20 seconds left, you have a 2-1 lead. And if you're not able to hold that lead, and not only that, but then to give up a second goal,
sure.
I mean, you didn't deserve to win. Regardless, it doesn't matter.
I think they got beat on the second goal. I think they fell asleep in the third.
Yeah, I think they were like, it's over, which isn't like them. And you know what? The other thing too is when the net was empty, you had Krug, a rookie, carrying the puck, and he looked like he did not want anything to do with that puck.
Yeah, that's fear.
I'll tell you one thing. There's a lot of people up in central Canada that wear blue and white that are laughing right now.
Well, and to them I say this: suck a dick, because you haven't made the playoffs in 8 years, and you make the playoffs and you blow it in Game 7. You're all outside shivering your testicles off for no reason because you lost. Anyway, okay. But so, and then moving on, I mean, Kane and Taves, mostly Kane, though, he came alive. The minute the Bruins media, the Boston media started talking about Corey Crawford's glove and where is Kane and where is everybody, and the NBC crew said they got to step it up. Immediately after they said that, they did, and there they were.
Yeah.
And they've been like this all season. People have questioned them. I was shocked to hear how many people locally in Boston and stuff and normally a very educated hockey audience around here, I tend to believe, but they all started saying, we're going to do it and everything. And, Crawford looks shaky and all these things. And I was just like, this is crazy. This is going to a Game 7. That's the only thing shocking to me right now is not that we lost, because I thought we could have lost Game 7, but that we lost the way we did and that we lost on home ice after coming out with such fire. But you're right. They fell apart. They got fatigued. And Chicago's faster and had the stamina.
Can I bring up something just about Boston sports? When you guys lose fantastically. Everything is just like the Patriots being perfect, the Buckner ball through the legs, when they were in the NBA Finals against the Lakers. It's
The
just
second
like,
time.
yeah, when you guys just lose, it's just like it's epic.
Yeah, they're always good. Well, you know what it is? They're always good games. The last, however many years, even if you go back to and I'm going to touch on this real quick because we don't really want to talk about this, but football, all the football games the Patriots won were all nail biters and we won. All the ones we lost were for the nail biters and we lost. We put on. I hope you're all happy. We put on a good show, win or lose.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you something. You did it when you lose, but when you win, it's epic too. Let's talk about the 2004 Boston Red Sox coming back from 3-0, which had never been done in Major League Baseball history. Some of the championship, the Canucks Boston championship in 2001 was nothing short of one of the better Stanley Cup finals, coming back from behind, if I'm not mistaken. So you do kind of lose sort of memorably. Bill Buckner, but you seem to win in the same manner. It seems to go both ways. Hey, listen, Quicking, I found it shocking that Doc Emmerich said, this is an award for the entire playoffs. It is not an award for just this series. And they give it to Patrick Kane. Does Patrick Kane really deserve this award? He just came alive in this particular season. He was subpar in some of the others. Well, actually, I would say at the end of the last series. He was subpar in the other two series, both being Minnesota and Detroit. I was a little surprised not to see Corey Crawford at the end of that. I mean, it looks like this is another case of this is a more marketable player, so we're going to give it to him for whatever reason. And I was not that I'm not taking anything away from Kane because he was probably the most valuable player for Chicago in this series. But that's not what the award's for. The award's for the entire playoffs. In fact, there's been goaltenders that have actually won the award and lost the cup. So I was wondering what you guys take on that one.
Sebastian Jaguar.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I thought it was weird the way he set it up like he did, and then Kane still won it. It was like, well, then why'd you say all that? Like, with emphasis almost like to,
Well, maybe
But do you really think Crawford should have won it?
I don't know about Crawford winning it, though, either, because he had some tough times out there. I don't think he was the, I think the problem is there was no real definitive person, but Kane stuck out in those last few games.
Yeah.
And,
that may have what pushed him over was those last few games. And,
no, you're right.
he had a hat trick in the one Detroit game, right? The one that went to overtime?
Yeah. He came alive during the last game. He's very good in this series, but he is kind of a streaky player. He reminds me of Brett Hull. He's a faster skating Brett Hull in a lot of ways.
He probably was the best choice,
Yeah, I guess. It becomes a really difficult choice. I mean, to me, if it goes Boston's way, it's Bergeron. There's just no question. It's not Rusk, it's Bergeron. I got a message from Dave. You really got me. Oh, well, Dave just wrote me. He just said that not former, he's current, but he hasn't really been with us. Hey, just wanted to say, you're the one who got me really into hockey. You taught me so much about the game. In essence, you gave me this moment, or at least the opportunity. I have not forgotten that. Thank you so much. Good luck to your Rangers next year. That's very nice from Dave. Just wanted to let some of the listeners know about that. Going on from Kane, is there any other issues that we didn't? Did you guys find it weird? Krug on Kruger? Did you notice that?
Yeah, the whole series, I was messed up with that.
Yeah, it's kind of freaking me out.
Well, it was last year with the Devils series. There was two Berniers. There was.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. There was some weird There was some similar names that were going back and forth with the Stanley Cup series from last year. There was a Bernier. I think there was two other players that names were just.
That's quasi-common name in Bernier. Isn't that
Yeah, and for a fan that's not a fan of, not watching both the teams all year last year, watching the Cup, it was like, what? Who? They're both out there now. I had no idea.
Yeah, there was somebody. There was another player. I can't think of his name. There was the names were just so similar.
Did you know they don't bring the cup out until the third period? I didn't know that.
No, they usually warm it up.
They just leave it outside, then they bring it into the building in the third period.
They have a whole weird thing behind that, and the guy who actually, I don't know,
Isn't he freaky? He looks like he should be like the bad guy in an Indiana Jones movie.
Looks like
Like there's like Indiana Jones in the Stanley Cup.
he
Like,
looks like he gets the kids' bus stop a little before they do in the bus stops. I don't know.
I want to see my cup. Speaking of that, can we stop having Gary Bettman,
Nobody
give
likes
out these awards at the end? It's just disgraceful
It's
at this point.
It's awful because I was just I wanted to say, oh, it's those rotten, sore-losing Boston fans, and I started thinking to myself, it wouldn't matter. He'd be getting booed no matter where he's going. So
Well,
I mean,
not just that, but 30 or 40% of the people at the end that were there, 30% of them were Blackhawks fans.
Yeah,
But
no,
last year Vancouver just booing. Right? I mean, I give I shit on Vancouver a lot of times and make fun of their fans. They light the city on fire. But those fans were really cool because every single one of them stuck around to see the cup and to see the Bruins, and everybody's clapping. As hard as it is to sit there and watch it. And they booed the hell out of Gary Bettman.
Yeah, I know.
Even more than this year.
I have to be honest with you. I mean, I don't. Look, fans got every right to boo, but it does seem like I don't know. Like I'm over my Bettman hate. I've mentioned this on past shows, and I'm not saying he's a good guy. He's not this puppet master that is ruining the league for his own evil plan. Gary Bettman is a businessman that does what he's told. Well, he's a commissioner. Not really. I mean, he's a commissioner and title holder. He works for the owners, and he doesn't do anything the owners doesn't tell him. That they don't tell him to do. You can't tell me if the owners came and said, "Hey, Gary, cut a deal. We cannot afford to have this lockout." Boy, the Devils probably would have done that. Do you think if that was the case, even for a second, Bettman wouldn't have came to the table and knocked it out of the park? He does what he's told. So this irrational hate, it's just a patsy. The owners are your problem, and they're
the owners,
people.
exactly.
So and Bettman gets the blame, and you think he gives a shit that you're booing him? He gets booed every single year. You think anybody cares?
I feel bad for him.
What's it called, commissioner gets booed. When you see Roger Goodell at the draft, when he first goes out there, all you just hear is a sea of boos from the for the NFL. Same with David Stern.
Hey, hey guys, do you want it? I think we got to put a Blackhawks fan on. Are you okay with that, Joe?
Yeah, sorry, go for it.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll. So we're gonna put a Blackhawks fan on right now.
Go friggin' Hawks!
Well, congratulations, Mr. Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. By the way, you are on live, Shot from the Point. You're here with Jake Leake and Boston fan Joe Cronin from his YouTube channel, the Joe Cronin Show. And
Stop!
Yeah.
What's going on, boys?
Yeah. Well, congratulations to you, Dave, for that epic cup.
It was a hell of a run. It was incredible. I wish we would have been able to discuss it more because it was.
It was a great run, but I think the question's been answered. I said from the very beginning, this was first of all, very, very little separated both these teams. The one team is not dominant over. In fact, the only team that actually got dominated in the series was actually Chicago when they lost that game 2-0. Was it 2 or 3-0?
When it got out of control after the first, even in that game though, it got out of control after the Hawks, dominated the first period.
Sure, but like I'm saying, there's very, very, very little between these both of these teams, and we have the only difference really is style itself. We have skill versus strength, and two of them really, honestly, I think these are the one and two best hockey teams in the league, hands down. I think we could all agree on that. Correct, boys?
Yeah.
I think that's fair. That's definitely fair.
But it does seem, even on choppy ice, which I was absolutely sure Boston. I figured Boston would get to Game 7, and I was figured Chicago would take them down after Game 5. Even with choppy ice, skill does win the day. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't. Thankfully, the Chicago Blackhawks are not like the Vancouver Canucks. They're not diving champions. They don't, nor the San Jose Sharks, and what have you. I think that's, one of the. I honestly, I think that with the exception of Detroit, Los Angeles, and Chicago, I don't think it's even a very strong conference comparatively. But when it comes down to it, skill does win the day. And
You think the East is a stronger conference than the West this year?
Absolutely, physically and everything, it's more demanding.
Oh,
in every
you
way.
have the worst division in the history of sports.
That may be true, but I tell you something.
Not just in hockey.
Well, yeah,
the worst
but
division in the history of sports played this year.
Those teams are also playing much better teams.
It makes the NFC West look like the fucking the NFC West from 3 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, I honestly, I don't
like
think
the NFC East.
I don't think that diving crap works if San Jose's in the Eastern Conference. I think Washington takes them right apart.
People forget one thing too: the East and West did not play each other during the regular season.
No.
So they played just in their own conferences, and that says something. I feel the West was far superior.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really do, and
it was a lot tighter in the West.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, you had Columbus about to Columbus go from the bottom of the league and about to yeah.
The East was bizarre this year. It was just bizarre.
What the hell? I got one question that you experts have to answer me because, as you know from the beginning of the show, I'm a noob still. I know some about hockey now thanks to Tommy, but nowhere near as much as you guys. What the hell happened to Pittsburgh in the playoffs? Or at least in that round when they lost to Boston, I've never seen a collapse like that.
Well,
from going from 100 to 0.
And I think this is why you think the Western Conference is stronger. It's just because they don't have, and they actually have more physical grit with guys like Matt Cook and Murray and things like that. But they don't have enough all around. And if they're
mentally
like
soft.
Boston,
we saw that. Yeah, that's
you're going to get taken apart. Now that's why I thought Boston would actually handle Chicago. Here's why Chicago won. First of all, they're even though they're a highly skilled team, they're one of the top defensive teams in the league.
Yes.
And they could do it at both ends of the ice. The other reason they won is because, and I don't know why they were taken off the same line to begin with, is Kane and Taves were put on the same line.
What was that? Yeah, I didn't understand that either.
I don't know. You probably, because I don't watch every Chicago game this year.
I watched every minute of it, man. I loved every second.
Lines get stale sometimes, and sometimes they mix it up. But I don't know why, these guys aren't scoring. Having a guy like Taves at center for a guy like Kane seems like a natural to me, but sometimes lines get stale.
I think Taves is injured, and you're going to find that out later.
It might be right. You might be right about that.
I've
you think Kane deserved the Conn Smythe?
We were just talking about that. I just think there was no one else to give it to be honest.
Bickle,
it was just
Bickle scored 8 times. Incredible in the first 3 rounds. He disappeared in the finals, but Bickle was the reason they got past Detroit, and he was a deciding factor in the LA series. Bickle was incredible the entire playoffs.
Dave just figured it out. I honestly do. Dave just figured out because we couldn't find a guy to do that. But Bickle's not a big name. By the way, he's probably not going to even be on Chicago yesterday. With
I think they're going to do everything they can to re-sign him.
It's a cap thing.
There's some rumors. Just Devils fans rumors. So you can take it with a grain of salt. That the Devils are going to try and get Bickle.
Well, everyone's going to try to get Bickle after the playoffs because he had an amazing run. He should have won the Conn Smythe. He really should have.
You mentioned before, though, that Doc Emmerich introduces – I don't know what broadcast you watch, the Canadian and the American one, but
I watched NBC.
Yeah. Doc Emmerich introduces this for the entire playoffs, and they handed it to Kane, who got hot late in the last season.
Series. 2 rounds he didn't even score.
No, sure. So why does this guy have this? So I don't know if it was the right move. And certainly the smarter move would have been to give Bickle, but we couldn't think of the name. But I mean, obviously you're paying a little more attention. And now that I'm thinking back, it's Bickle. You're absolutely
I think
right.
Game 5 got Kane the trophy though, because he could have scored 4 or 5 times in that game.
Definitely.
He got 2 goals, and that was deciding. That was such a huge game. Was Game 5?
Not to mention the hat trick that he had in Game 7 against the Detroit.
I think the biggest reason why the Hawks were able to beat Boston is because they had a warm-up Boston. The Kings are very, very similar. The Kings and Boston were very, very similar. The Kings were able to score a little bit more than Boston was. But, I mean, we got a little bit of a warm-up. Boston had a different track. They came back against Toronto, and then I don't even remember who they played second. And then the Penguins weren't even the Penguins, so I don't know.
Well, I don't think the Penguins are even the Penguins. I think you have too much. You have slow skating defensemen in the back. You really have one defenseman worth of shit. It's Letang.
No goalie.
And you need grit and you need leadership. And Crosby completely collapsed. And you saw that with the.
I'll give you a Boston perspective where a lot of people were like, "Oh man, either the Penguins or Chicago, the Blackhawks, those are going to be the toughest teams." And we just kept saying like, "No, they're not because they're totally different." because the difference is the Pittsburgh is fragile. Where we knew going into the game with the Blackhawks, this is going to be totally different than the Penguins, because a lot of people are like, I can't believe we beat the Penguins. They're so full, well-rounded. How are we going to be able to handle the Blackhawks now? But no, the Blackhawks are a completely different team than
absolutely.
Pittsburgh, because they are able to sustain this. They're just the Blackhawks. They don't give a fuck. They're just going to score. They're going to do what they do. It doesn't matter who they play.
They also don't have a self-entitled crybaby.
Yeah.
That leads the team, that complains about a glove punch on his jaw 2 weeks after the fact. I mean,
you see, you know what? I didn't believe in the whole hype when Pittsburgh got on their run, and then the season. And I thought that Ottawa was going to knock them out of the playoffs just because of how they're a bunch of whining crybabies.
Yeah.
I had Ottawa in that series.
Yeah.
Well, you take any chance you can to pick against Sissy, but that's you.
Well, look. I know. I thought Ottawa could skate with them, and it turned out.
And they did. They for a time, not for an entire series.
It's same thing with Boston and Chicago. If they got it to a grind game, they could dominate Chicago. But as soon as it became an open game,
it's too much speed, man.
They can't handle it.
Stahlberg did what he wanted to do this entire series. When Stahlberg was on the ice, Stahlberg did what he wanted to do. That was incredible speed that I saw out of Stahlberg, and I don't understand why he got benched so much than he did in the playoffs. I don't understand what Quenneville was doing, but hey.
Speed's over. Well, I'm glad you brought up Joe Quenneville. Joe Quenneville probably should get the Conn Smythe, and I'll tell you exactly why.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm off on this one, Dan. Is the change in forecheck and to attack Char in the corner and really go after him really threw this team off.
Oh God,
and changed the series. Now
they started dumping the puck in like the Bruins were doing.
Yes, and nobody saw that coming. And he did not win the Jack Adams Trophy this year because it was almost too easy for him. So you look at the lineup, you look at the way the team was playing, and he didn't get the Jack Adams Trophy. Boy, which
is a crime, by the way.
That change. I have no problem with Ottawa, but him dragging that team to the playoffs with all his injuries is absolutely worthy. But you did see that Joe Quenneville is not just a coach that has a bunch of great future Hall of Famers. Joe Quenneville is a great coach, and that is a real testament to him. And he definitely deserves his name on that Stanley Cup because those moves were dramatic in the end.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Anything else?
Wait. Woo! I got that.
I won $500 because I picked the Blackhawks at the first day of the season. So I don't know. Even though my team lost, you
can put it towards season tickets.
Yeah, you're right. So I can go see a Bruins game next year. I picked the Hawks to win the year they won it a couple of years ago too. It's very interesting. Yeah. What's funny is as a Bruins fan, there was no real hate in this. Like this was from a Bruins perspective. The Vancouver Canucks. I mean. They started poking us around, and we didn't get that in this series. It was a very clean, we respect you, we respect you. Well, yeah, I mean there was
tried to rip each other's fucking heads off every time they had an opportunity, which was awesome to watch. It was good theater.
No,
but it was kind of like we expected. All right, but nobody was biting fingers or trying to stab someone's eyeballs out with a finger when no one was looking.
Or diving.
Talking about
no diving. Thank God.
Speaking of diving, how the hell are the Sedin sisters expected to dive in front of pucks next year for John Tortorella? Can you picture that one of the Sedin sisters trying to? Yeah, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna put your body on the line to stop a puck. They're gonna.
That's what we said. We said it's going to be
Matador capes.
Well, it's funny you guys bring that up. I have some audio. Speaking of that situation, Alain Vigneault. I'm going to call him Vigneault because he's in New York now. The new coach of the Rangers. So, we've been listening to John Tortorella clips on the show pretty much since its inception. Well, until we figured out how we could do it. But
I was back in the days where we didn't have any of the good stuff.
These options. No, we didn't have these options back in those days. But I want you to hear it's a crappy quality. But this is the new Ranger. This is the new Ranger coach being introduced.
I want to welcome the 35th head coach of the New York Rangers, Alain Vigneault.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Dolan and Glenn for the vote of confidence in me. I don't intend to let them down. When
Doesn't sound confident.
I was thinking about the opportunity to coach the New York Rangers, one of the original 6 teams in this great city. There's not a chance that I could pass that up. Honored and privileged, I feel at this moment. I'm coming here to win, and there's no doubt in my mind that this organization is committed to winning the Stanley Cup.
Which
We've got a lot
organization
of great
isn't?
pieces here, and we're going to continue to try and
like those
improve
fucking losers
so that
in
we all
Vancouver.
get to where we want to be. I was walking around the rink yesterday at our practice facility, and I was looking around at the pictures. I saw some of the pictures the last time that the city won the Cup. It's real clear to me that there's no better place to win the Stanley Cup than here in New York. Real excited about this challenge and this opportunity.
Because of the bars.
And I just want to get started. So I'm here.
Let's get to work, boys.
Ready for the questions.
Are you?
Thanks.
Get the fuck out of here, then.
It's a lot different than this.
Get the fuck out of here, then.
How are you going to balance the lines? There's the first question.
Listen. Here's what it is. They bitch and they moan and they complain about Tortorella, and now we have a politician. That was a speech, a prepared speech. I'm going to be ill for the next couple years. I'm sure.
Well, I don't think it's going to be that long. This guy might be one and done.
Yeah, maybe. First of all, I don't know.
What's he like in the locker room?
Hey guys, I want you to try your best. I did some changes with the lines. Ryan, what do you think? I don't. And you know what? He probably won't even talk to me. He'll probably have an assistant coach talk.
This is what he says. He says if we win, we all get ice cream. But if we lose, we all get ice cream.
Can you imagine the player's face when they see this guy come in and be like, "All right, guys, if we win, we get ice cream." And then you fast forward a year before, fuck you, fucking get in front of the puck. Oh, God damn it, I'll suck it. You won't be on the team, you motherfucker. I'll eat this. I'll kill your wife.
It's like going from Patton to Prince Charles. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, like these guys are going to be like, what is happening? Like, is this hockey?
They're going to be like abused women when they're
We're going to have a hotline.
They're going to think that they're getting ready for a golf tournament, and they're going to go get their golf clubs, and they're like, oh, I thought this was golf. A coach said we get ice cream, and well...
The Ranger fans...
Last year, Tortorella had a whip.
If you listen real carefully, you can hear Lundqvist going, oh, fuck, not again. I'm going to have another long fucking year.
Oh, wait a minute. Lundqvist is probably the guy who got him out of there, buddy.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm saying as far as just he's going to be incredible again, and it's going to mean nothing.
Yeah. Well, he's going to, he's got rid of the coach that he doesn't like. Now he can, lose a 3-4 instead of 2-1.
Yeah, he's the Chris Paul of the NHL. Apparently, he just gets rid of coaches.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's like basketball player shit that he does.
Yeah, I know. Well, first of all, let's be fair. We don't know it for a fact, but let's also be fair. It's probably a pretty good.
Can I trash the NBA Finals real quick?
3 days before Tortorella gets fired, he comes out. So, are you going to sign next year? We'll see. Is that right? We'll see. Thanks, Henrik. Well, you think about it, and we'll get back to you. Get John the fuck out of here.
It's horrible. You mind if I trash the NBA Finals for a quick second?
No, I don't. I don't.
Oh my God! If you ever need a reason to switch sports, ladies and gentlemen, it is watching these two finals back to back, because one was an absolute joke, which I've never seen flopping, and if there's ever been a case for a major sporting event to be to look like it's been fixed, it's been this year's NBA Finals. Absolute bullshit. It was disgusting to watch. The NBA should be ashamed of themselves. And then what do we get from the real fucking sport of America?
To the NBA.
We see hockey.
Nobody watches it on this. Nobody can stand it. Do you watch it, Joe?
No, I don't. I mean, no, I don't. I mean, those Celtics. The last time I watched the NBA Finals, I think the Celtics were in it. I had it on in the background, and I was cheering for the Celtics, but I really am a noob fan as far. But when I was a kid, I watched it every game, as well as hockey. But once you get older and you start to realize that, it's like wrestling. You're like, oh, you're a kid, you think it's real, or you love it, and then you get older.
I still love fucking wrestling, buddy.
Well, hey, we know I love wrestling. My whole fucking channel is dedicated to wrestling.
Stop talking about fucking basketball! Stop it! Stop it! Stop! Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
It's awful. That's all you need to know. Don't watch it. It's terrible.
Okay, thanks. I needed you.
Basketball, that is.
Yeah. Thanks. Step. Okay, now I'm better.
Feel better?
Anything else we didn't cover? Let me go over some crap that's we're not going to do in news. By the way, this is the last show of the season. It's actually too good. It was real good until Dave let off an IED in the show with a basketball. Thanks, Dave.
Hey, I had to do what I had to do. You know you miss it. You miss me just completely killing a fucking show
not during,
with a drop of a word. It's what I do.
An epic Stanley Cup final. No, absolutely not. No. I couldn't be farther away. Hey, LeBron James won. So fucking what?
Yeah, it was a joke.
Yeah, you know what? I think since it was, I think you probably heard this on one of my things, but since he was called King James for 3 years before he ever won anything, I think now we should call him Dickhead. Since he's now won. Because, and the same thing with King Henrik and all, and whatever, King and God, and these people haven't won anything. Like, what the hell? I don't, whatever. That's a whole other thing, but
that's another topic for another day, right?
For another time. Let me go over some of the other stuff. John Tortorella supposedly is going to be revealed in the next couple hours for the Vancouver Canucks.
Wow.
We already kind of covered that. Anything else that's mildly friggin' interesting out there?
Big flood in
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't want to get so friggin' serious. I wanted to get goofy, and thankfully we just got goofy because the first friggin' 20 minutes sounded like a real talk show, for Christ's sakes. Good job, guys, but be more funny. There has been a horrible flood inside of Calgary that has been reported all over here in Germany, but yet it doesn't seem to be breaking its neighbors' newspapers outside of some of the very most northern states. This Saddle Dome in Calgary is underwater, and they're not reporting about it in the United States.
Jake,
I know you've been.
That is strange.
The first thing I'll tell you, I listened to talk radio and watch TV all day a few days ago when this happened, and I first heard about it, and I forget the name of his show, but it's a guy who does a solo show all by himself out here nationally throughout the country.
Sure.
And I heard it on his show at 1 a.m. And it was a caller who brought it up. So, and then they talked about it for about 20 minutes, but that was it.
I got to be honest with you. The only reason I know about it is because I'm doing research for the show every week, and it's really disgusting. The Saddle Dome's underwater. Hey, Jake, I know you've been paying attention to it. Has anybody lost their lives? I mean, I didn't even know that.
I think there was probably 3 lives lost, but I don't think in the Saddle Dome. I think just in general in Vancouver. Calgary.
I mean, and Jake knows all about damage riding out a nice little hurricane that came through New Jersey last year. The damage is unbelievable. This is not that important, but I mean, for people's not in the game's perspective, but for people's jobs, it's important. Calgary might not have a place to play come October. That's how bad.
Calgary said that they will be up and running by this season.
Look, they're going to say that. I know they're going to do their best, Jake. But I mean, have you seen some of these photos? I meey're spectacular.
Oh God, yeah. How ironic that a bunch of water went into a place where the Flames play, though. Sorry.
Well,
hey, you know what?
That was a good pun.
That was nice.
Hey, you know what though? This one's for you, Jake. That was well deserved. But
Man.
look, my point is, I'm really disgusted the United States didn't talk about this. This has been in the news, and the German news is paying attention to it. Because my girlfriend comes up to me. She's like, there's this terrible flood going on in Calgary. I was like, yeah, I think me and you are the only 2 people who know. And she's like, no, it's all over the news. Not in North America. Jeez.
Yeah, when I did see some stuff on Facebook, but when we had the bombings here, you saw everybody rallying together and talking about, hey, we're with you, Boston. Remember Chicago? Chicago was the ones who were, hey, we're with you, Boston. And then Boston.
My Yankees were decent as well.
Yeah, everybody
was real decent about it. I don't know. Maybe they just figure that the Calgary has the Hearts and they're okay. I don't know. They have the Hart family. They're okay.
The one thing they're missing out on, besides Bret the Hitman Hart showing up in a jet to give people water, is they don't need any more of that. But is the and the Texas thing, when that thing blew up, however many people died there, you heard all over Facebook and pouring out and all these things, and you're really not getting that. The only good that's coming out of this is the story of all the people in Alberta and everything that have been like giving up their houses to have people come live in the houses and you know, stay with them and advertising it all on Craigslist type of stuff.
That's just Canadian hospitality, though.
Yeah. And it's funny because they're like, oh, it's so amazing what they're doing. In America, it would be like, oh, it's so amazing what we've done. We've all bonded together. No, it's just every day over there.
Yeah.
But here, it's like, oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, if you remember after Katrina, they just shipped people back and forth between states for like a year and a half. So no one was opening doors.
You don't have a home?
Go to
sleep in
Houston.
this gym.
No. Go back to New Orleans. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Do you really want Bambi like living in your living room for a week?
At least you'll eat good.
There's a meme going around that says, "Gonna take a long time to get all that water out with only one cup."
Why do I have you on? You're on point. That's pretty good, Jake, for last show. What are you gonna do all summer?
Just vicious today.
It's just a good thing the Bruins didn't win in the end because Jaromir Jagr would have masturbated in the cup.
He might have. I think that's one of my biggest disappointments. I would have liked to seen him go out with one. I know how hard he worked to get there, but I tell you something. He's
going to play for another 10 years. Don't worry.
Yeah, he's got what? He's 172 years old. He's played for 67 seasons. It's let him play for another 30 years. Fuck it.
It's over for Yard. That's not the guy I saw 5 years ago.
He looks slow, man.
I saw 20 years ago.
He's bizarre. He's some kind of thing, man. What's up with his face?
The man can still handle a puck, though, can he? I mean, geez, I saw that.
It doesn't matter.
He had some magic.
I've never seen someone be so amazing in 1 second and then just turn into shit in the next second. Then Jaromir Jagr, it's like it's weird. It's
called getting old. I mean,
it's not Bruins hockey though. What he does is totally against everything that anybody else does on the team.
Oh yeah, sure. But I got to be honest, he did play well for me as far. He didn't put any goals in the net, but
he did. He could have hit. He hit a post, 2, 3.
Well, he did.
He had a couple good opportunities.
Well, but he also set up plays.
His playmaking skill, exactly.
Skills are still there, but I think that's all that's left. Because you remember this guy. I mean, he could skate as I don't know as fast as Kane, but on par, and dance around you, and put it around, and he had the hockey IQ, and he could make plays. The only thing that he was never able to do, as probably one of the top 10 players that ever lived, is actually lead a team on his own. So I remember Jaromir Jagr saying, he won the Stanley Cup at 19 years old with Mario Lemieux, and he thought this was just going to be something that was going to happen every year. And then he won the next year, and he spent the next 20 years chasing it. I mean, it's 20 years this year. Was it this year? No, it was 20 years last year. 21 years since his last Stanley Cup, and I can't imagine it. I noticed this when he was on Philadelphia yesterday. The guy really, really braces for hits. I mean, he looks so weak or physically weak, where this is a guy who can skate down the ice, and guys would just bounce off of him like he was nothing. So I think that's the last we've seen.
He drinks his Metamucil. He's good to go.
I've got a wonderful comment from a Bruins fan.
What's that?
Listen to this guy. This is someone on my Facebook. Didn't we used to riot when our sports teams lost championships? What happened to that? Everybody's calm as shit. Fuck this. I want to see some cars getting flipped over.
I have an idea.
What?
I have an idea, Joe. And if I was with you, I'd go over there. Let's go over to his house and set his fucking car on
his
fire.
car. He doesn't have a car. He doesn't have a car.
How do you like
That's
it now,
the thing.
fuckface?
Let's go in his wallet and take his bus pass.
Yeah. Or no, we'll take his bus pass and just scratch out the piece that reads at the fucking scanner so he still has it. And then when he gets there, I'll be like, ah! But no, seriously, like I've seen a couple other people saying this. I don't think there's been riots here when we've lost anything in the last. I can't even remember.
It's usually winning teams that riot.
Yeah,
like LA burns the fucking city down every time.
Winning teams in Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver's the anomaly. We lost.
Riots.
Let's destroy the city.
I can't. I got to be honest with you, Joe. When was the last riot in Boston?
When the Red Sox won the 2004 World Series, there was crazy riots. Now you got to remember, why do riots happen? And a lot of the reason why riots happen are because of newbie college fans or college fans and people who want to create chaos, who aren't really part of. You know what I mean? They're there cheering or they're not, and they're not really part of the real team.
Exactly.
They're these kids that just got a Boston Bruins shirt from a local Walmart or something. They're just,
Yeah.
It doesn't even fit right. They just want to be in the clique.
Yeah.
And a girl got killed because she got the police came, dispersed everybody, and they fired rubber bullets to get everybody to get out of there. And a bullet ricocheted, went into her eye, and killed her, like a 19-year-old college girl. And that was during the World Series. And they were, people complained about the police using the bullets, but she was really just caught in the middle of this whole thing.
I know. That's a nightmare. I was in basic training during that whole thing, so I missed it. Actually, I've told this story on the show before, but I'm sure Joe would really appreciate it. I was in the middle of basic training, and they allow us calls every couple days. And I called my father. I said, "How the Yanks doing?" And he says, "Don't worry about it. We're up 3-0." Okay. So as Dave well knows, they don't tell you. You can't say like, "Hey, Phil Sargent, how are the Yankees doing?" If
they don't tell you
want,
anything.
like something horrible to happen to you, or at very least, humiliation on a level that you haven't seen since you were picked on by the biggest jock in school. So anyway,
my neighbor died in a hospital bed when they were down 3-0, and he had waited his whole life to see the Red Sox win and never saw it.
Who was that?
My neighbor. He went in the hospital, and then that happened. And I remember saying, like, "Oh man, he would sit in the hospital holding his baseball." I mean, it was the whole horrible story. And he dies, and then they come back and win. Oh,
that's heartbreaking.
God, that's horrible. Well, there was a famous Ranger fan that was murdered right before the Stanley Cup final, right in her apartment. She lived alone, and somebody went in and just killed her. Took what little money she had, and pretty basically, from what I understand, the only thing she had was like season tickets to the Rangers, and that's about
Jesus.
it.
Wow.
But
now let's all just kill ourselves because that was.
Wow, we just brought
stories.
the whole fucking show down.
People are so depressed right
anybody
now.
Anybody want to talk about their first fucking pet dying? Jesus, guys.
Anyway,
what kind of show are you running, Tommy?
old men dreams long went by the wayside.
I once was told I might have to get a colostomy bag.
I don't know what to do. Jesus.
Hey, listen. I want to tell. I'm dying to tell Joe the show because we're coming to the end. We're going to say our thank yous and our goodbyes and what have you. Well, anyway, so a couple days go by and I didn't hear anything, and then I called my parents' house and they weren't home. So, and Dave knows this. You're not home, you're screwed. You don't get a phone call home. So I finally said, fuck it. If I got to do like 100 push-ups, fuck it. I'm doing it. So I said, hey, drill sergeant. And by the way, the series is over by this point. The Boston-New York series, 2004. I said, I know I'm not supposed to ask this, but can you tell me where the Yankees are in the World Series? And he looks at me dead in the eye and he goes, they won. I was like, they won what? Oh, the World Series. They're World Series champions. I was like, who'd they beat? And I forget the team he said. So I said, so what happened in the Boston series? Oh, they swept them.
Oh,
and he
my
looks,
God.
And you know what I noticed? He said, yeah, they swept Boston and moved on and beat whoever the hell team they beat the World Series that year. I'm like, oh, God, that's great. Yeah. Go, get out and push for asking me that shit. So I figured, all right, that was
the
worth
Cardinals,
it.
by the way. They beat the Cardinals in the World Series.
They beat the Cardinals. So, yeah, that's what he said. He goes, yeah, they beat the Cardinals in the World Series. Oh, that's even better because they have the second most championships. So I finally, the next week comes and you get your phone call, and I said, my dad picks up the phone. I was like, woo-hoo! Yankees win, baby! Yankees win! And my father's like, I mean, did you run away from the basic training? Are you on drugs? Did somebody beat you up? I'm like, Dad, they beat the Cardinals, And he said, Tommy, Boston came back from 3 games. They won 4 in a row. And I'm like, yeah, you're fucking with me. And it's like, and then the entire conversation. By the way, you only get what was it? 10 minutes you get?
If that.
I know the entire rest of the time I should be out telling him that everything's okay. Dad, please don't fuck with me. Please don't fuck because everybody thinks they won. And Dad, Tommy, I wouldn't lie to you. And then I'm trying to think: is my dad fucking with me in basic training, or is the drill sergeant fucking with me? Yeah, I look over the corner, and that fucking hillbilly bastard is looking at me, shaking my head, and he's grinning, pointing another drill sergeant, laughing his fucking ass off.
So that's the worst thing that happened to you in basic training?
No.
You know what happened to me in basic training? I went through fucking 9/11.
Yeah,
That's what happened to me, motherfucker.
I think I'll give this Army thing a try.
Straight to goddamn war. It was terrifying. You're talking about the fucking Boston Red Sox?
They don't go to war anymore over there.
We're all getting fast-tracked. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, you and Tommy had 2 different experiences in the Army.
Yeah,
oh, my God.
Dramatically. I went to Germany and chased German girls. Dave went to
married
Germany,
the first
chased
one I
German
fucked.
girls, and
Dave's like the reason we have Memorial Day, and you're just.
Hey, listen, great show, guys. But instead of doing plugs, and I know Joe's new to the show, but I think you don't have to participate, but I mean you could use it as an opportunity plug. I want to take the last 10 minutes of the show and do thank yous and things of that nature, because I think with anything a project like this, we definitely have a lot of people to thank. And I know I'm getting really corny and bringing this to a grinding halt, but no, I think, and if I can find the stupid goddamn thing to click on, here we go. Recognize that music? We're not going to hear it for a while. I like to start off with Dave. Dave, with your podcasting and time, do you have people to thank or plug or what have you? And then we'll check out.
Well, the first person I want to thank is you, actually.
Well, thank you.
For getting sappy. You brought me hockey. Before we were friends, I didn't even know what hockey was.
You actually goofed on me because
I did.
had a hockey jersey on once.
And you are partially responsible for this moment that I got tonight, so I want to say thank you for that. And thanks for having me on the show. I know it's been a while.
Sure.
But you know what?
See,
That's the beauty of hockey.
You weren't a fan when I won it, what was it, in 2010?
Just barely. I mean, like, I was just a Hawks guy. I was just like, oh, Hawks won hockey. What's hockey? But I was happy the Hawks won. You know, it was that type of thing. And then Tommy and I started getting close, and I realized what a fucking idiot I was, because hockey is pretty much the best sport going right now. So
There's weird bias in certain parts of our sports culture against the game of hockey, and I think it's because those names are so hard to say. Back in the players' jersey. You got anything else?
Oh, back then though, when I was growing up, the game was so slow, and it turned me off.
I think if you look back, it wouldn't be, but I
Probably
think
not now. Yeah.
Because you know back now, it wasn't certainly slow during the Gretzky era. Oh well, wait a minute. No, you're a little younger than I am. You saw thanks to Jake over there, the post 1995 neutral zone trap clutching grab. Yeah, you're right. It was slow.
Hard to get into, and it was the heyday of NFL time for me too. You know, I mean, I got so.
You got any other? This is the time for sappy thanks. Not just me, of course, but anybody you have to thank or what have you. And thanks, goodbye on crap. Is that it, Dave?
That's all I got,
That's
man.
all you got. Mr.
Glad to be back, and I'm glad we got to do this together.
Sure, I'm really
Yeah,
happy
it's
you were
fun.
on the last show. I'm really, I was really, I didn't know if you'd come on, so I trapped you.
You asked me. All you had to do was
perfect,
ask.
we had the
Anytime you would have
Boston
asked, I would have came on.
perspective, And we had the Chicago perspective, and everybody's got weird accents, so it ought to be funny tomorrow.
I don't have a fucking accent.
Yes, you do. You sound like that fucking SNL skit.
I have not even lived in the States in fucking 12 years. I haven't lived in Chicago since I was 8.
Chicago.
No, it's because your parents.
Eat your fucking pizza that's made wrong.
Well, my stepmother's.
Oh my god.
My stepmother's from Staten Island.
Yeah, go
you haven't
fold
tasted
your fucking pizza, motherfucker.
You
I'll
haven't
eat mine with
tasted
a
wrong
fork.
pizza until you come to Boston. We have the
fuck
worst
that.
pizza in the world here.
It's just cardboard with cheese on it, basically.
It's just greasy shit. Which is like Philadelphia fans. It's weird.
Crazy shit.
Yeah, they put that on a sandwich, and it's good to go.
Well, Chicago pizza's not much better. It's greasy shit. Put it in a nice pan.
And you eat it with a fork, and that's a meal.
Yeah, exactly. They're all loading shit on docks over there. They don't care.
Yeah, well, let me eat this shit. Go get the car. I need a pizza. All right. Hey, Joe, do you have any thanks and what have you? I know your shows are still going and your channel's like big and huge and stuff, but like I said, now's the time to get sappy and say goodbye.
I actually booted. I ignored all my stuff that I normally do tonight to do this with you guys, so that's pretty
really
cool.
Appreciate it.
But I had a lot. I had a lot of fun, and we were able. This was like therapy for me tonight. So I want to thank you for allowing me therapy to come on here and do this. And but it's cool because I became a fan of you guys by listening to you every day, and then now I'm on here talking with you. So that's really cool. I'm excited to see what happens next year, and we'll see you next year, I guess.
Oh, we'll definitely see you next year. And make
You
sure
handled
Joe-
the loss with class, my friend.
Absolutely. Oh, Joe's.
Yeah, think about it. Now you have a free Wednesday night.
Tell that to my kidneys later.
You want to see
my
what a
liver.
classy guy Joe is? Listen to his tape about Jerome McGinley choosing the Pittsburgh Penguins over the Boston Red Sox. He really understood McGinley's choice and wished him the best. Right, Joe?
Oh yeah, I wished him all the best. and included a spiking of his facial features into the parquet of Boston. Oh, I'm drunk.
Okay, yeah, it's all right. Hey, Joe, you did a great friggin' job. Great job. Don't worry about it. And best luck to you, channel and wrestling and what have you. Jake, your turn, buddy.
First off, I want to thank my wife for letting me, right now she's sleeping. She's probably not sleeping, in the next room. Just, she's, just for putting up with all this, all the hours that, we've had to, even go back and redo the show for any technical issues. Just, I want to thank, Vinny from Edmonton.
Absolutely.
For just being a fan of the show. I want to thank my friends that started really enjoying the show. Family that listens to the show. I want to thank the NHL for actually having a season.
Yeah, that's
right.
So.
We would have been lost.
Well, actually, I think if the season gets canceled, me and Dave did a show where we destroyed Chocolate Point.
We destroyed the whole fucking world. It was great.
I also would like to thank Pup Daddy.
Jesus, you're turning into Halle Berry up there. Jesus Christ, man.
Tommy told me to write down thank yous. He said, just write down as many thank yous as you can think of.
Because I got a lot, and you guys got to suffer through them. Do you have any more thank yous, Jake?
You know what? You'll probably get the rest. So, yeah, just all my friends and family, especially my wife, for putting up with this.
It sounds like we're getting canceled right now, by the way.
Yeah.
So we did this last year, too.
We did. It was sad.
Yeah, it was sad. That's not sad at all. Yeah, I'm sure all 5 of our listeners are fucking really banging their heads against the wall. Hey, listen, I have a ton of people to thank, and it has to go, it goes even beyond the show. The people that inspired me to do the show would be, of course, great Howard Stern, Don Imus, Steve Summers, Jake knows who he is, and a lot of the other New York radio personalities that I grew up going to. I've always been, and I'm kind of like Joe this way, I'm a radio guy at heart and the phone. And then what happened last year, it was really, I was just making a couple of videos, and I got a whole bunch of likes and people laughed at them, and it was totally done on a lark. And then Dave called me, and he said, he started giving me ideas and stuff. And I was like, well, why don't I just put you fucking on? And then we did this entire video where I'm just staring at the screen talking to Dave. And I said, well, why don't we just do a podcast? And Dave's like, you know anything about that shit? And I'm like, not a fucking thing. Not a damn thing. And we just did it. And it just happened, and it worked. And it went on to lead to other things. And this has been a building process. If you listen to Shopping Point Best Stuff over the summer, you're going to see a sound quality difference, a big one.
Just a tad.
Nice.
Yeah, you're going to see a sound quality. But I mean, it's been really great. But I have to thank those guys for inspiration. But the one guy I have to thank for inspiration more than anybody is a man, not the Michael Moore you know, but a man from Philadelphia called Michael Moore. You hockey fans might remember a website called BroadStreetBully.com, and they used to sell bootleg videos and what have you. Remember that one, Jake?
Nah.
BroadStreetBully.com. He's a guy from Philadelphia, and when I had just gotten to Wiesbaden, he had a website where he actually put a podcast out, and it was this shock jock. And listen, I'm not ashamed to say I'm really heavily influenced by Stern, and this is a shock jock media. That's exactly what this is with Pat Hockey, and he did hockey with shock jock stuff, and it was right after the season cancellation, so it was Sidney Crosby's first rookie season and what have you. And I'm like, this really works. I mean, this really works. And it was always in the back of my mind that maybe I could do something like that. And even better, he stopped making podcasts after making 5 or 6 because apparently the NHL gave him a ring. And more recently, in 2008, he was arrested for piracy. And in January, he pleaded guilty to copyright infringement toward the NHL. And supposedly, he was sentenced 3 days ago, which I haven't got the final thing, to 5 years in prison and a $200,000 fine. But I have to thank you, Michael Moore, the Broad Street Bully, for giving me the inspiration I needed to start a shot from the point. Thank you.
Just so you know, if it goes down that road, I have no association with this show.
Well, I'm not. I learned from your mistakes this morning, and I don't say that sarcastically. I thought the show was funny as hell, and I think a little more serious note. I have to. I got to thank my girlfriend for the same reasons. Look, this
Andy.
Yeah, Andy. This is a hobby. This is a hobby, dude. And in order to get this hobby, I have a lot of responsibility, a lot of things to do. And Andy gives me the time, place, encouragement, and then I see her laughing. So she's liking what I'm producing, and she's pulling the weight over here until we get our situation straight. And during that time, she's not sitting there saying, well, "What are you doing all fucking day?" You know, not nagging me. She's like, "Are you creating? Are you doing something?" And
Oh, it's my girlfriend.
Yeah. What
are you doing? You're an idiot.
It's like there's real encouragement, and it's probably the reason I didn't start doing this years earlier because ex-wife don't go for that shit, or pretty much anything else unless I bring money in, which stopped after I left the army, and so did she. So I have to thank. She is a beautiful, wonderful, intelligent woman that puts up with my ass. She's never seen a hockey game in her life, and is taking it all in. I mean, she's a highly educated German accountant, and we fell in love, and she took me in, and then we have all this over a year later.
What, are you like a stray dog?
Yeah, like a
He
stray
was.
dog.
He fucking was.
Dave's not exaggerating.
Sugar mama.
Dave is not exaggerating. No. I also have to thank my daughter. She is A, the reason I'm here, and B, the reason why I put one foot over the next every day. Because everything that I do is really just a situation where I'm fighting to have the right to be a parent, and that keeps me focused. It keeps me from going out and chasing hookers and being drunk and being picked up in my underwear right now on Kaiserslauternstrasse over there.
There's an image.
That's probably the reason, because before Andy and my wife left, I wasn't chasing hookers. I would never do anything like that. Please don't listen to that Judge or Richter, whatever his name is. It's easy to indulge in, I don't know, college behavior when you're
Destructive behavior, I think, would be an appropriate word.
Behavior when you're white. But I have to thank my daughter Laura, who skated for the first time on ice this year, just a few months ago. And
she's a cutie pie.
And your daughter is beautiful too. And I do have to thank Dave. He has not been on the show recently, but we both didn't know what we were doing with both. But other things grew out of it, other relationships grew out of it, and what have you. And I absolutely have to thank Dave for the time we put in starting this whole thing. We didn't know where it was going. It's still growing there. So I thank you very much, my friend.
I'm very proud of what we accomplished and everything else that's led to it from it. And seeing you grow as a podcaster it's been good to watch and listen to. I'm sorry that we haven't been able to do more together.
Well, things could change down the road, but I mean, I can't take away.
There's some news on that we need to talk about.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that a little later. Jake came in, and I'll be honest with you, and I think David agrees with me. He had his first spot last year, and it wasn't really easy for Jake. And
the replacement fat guy.
It wasn't a replacement. I got a new fat guy. But Jake didn't really know what we were doing.
Jake and the fat guy.
He got in the second show this year, and it was a soft show. But Jake so quickly has fuck it, let's do another round of music. Has done everything that I've asked him and found a way to. He fills a great role, and he's funny, and I think the fact that he's on this show is actually changed his comedic style. He does stand up, and as Dave pointed out, Jake does tremendous observational humor. He saw it in this show, and he's been doing it all. Once he found his role, and once he found that he really produced, and I appreciate this new friendship that we have. I appreciate you being here, Jake.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, you've evolved, man. You really have. You've come a long way from the beginning to where you are now on this show, and I think you just gain the confidence in what your strengths are, and you really become a fantastic host, man.
And
you
you
really
are
have.
thinking about changing your act, correct?
Oh God, yeah. This is helping me out a lot. Like after my dad died, it got very hard. Like just being funny, and then here, I think it was the second or the third show when we started getting on that whole Matt Cook thing.
Oh.
It just was from that point on, it just was all right, I'm back.
Yeah. That makes me feel super.
Yeah, and I thank you for sticking with me and giving me the opportunity, even though
I knew
it was a little weak. I was a little
weak
when I came on as a guest last year.
Sure.
And even though I woke up at 6:30, hey, you want to be on?
Yeah.
So.
Look, I never said it was easy or what have you, but you never quit, you never go. And I always thought, when we met, I was like, Jake's just got to be Jake. And then, there obviously was that shit going on at the same time. But Jake's got about it, and Jake is. I can count on Jake for just about anything. And even when I tell you something, when I drop the ball, you seem to pick it up every time, and I appreciate it. Mr. Boston Joe Cornyn, I can't believe that I have a friendship with somebody from Boston. But it is possible, and I guess there's hope for the human race.
An intelligent Boston fan at that, man, that's impressive to me. I mean, amazing. And you're drunk.
I am. I have been drinking a lot. I probably should not be speaking right now, but that's okay. This is fine.
Well, Joe Cornyn, I really, we haven't met each other long, and I appreciate it. I just wrote you as like, hey, can I use your stuff? You could have easily told me, fuck you. You didn't. You let me use it. You got the joke. We didn't know if you were really that guy on the radio. We didn't know if, how that was going to go.
Joe, think about all those kids in Calcutta that are going to have Boston Bruins championship shirts.
Yeah, you got to think of the positive. There's been a huge donation tonight by the Jacobs family that we have to talk about some other time.
But look, it's new, and you're new. You're a new point man, and obviously, I know you've been working towards a radio career. I guess for the last 10 years of your life, and I wish you the best of luck with that. And you've been a real help to me, and you gave us absolutely our best funniest bit. I invite anybody to go listen to Smash, and then probably our best video clip as well, or the best audio clip. So I thank you, and I hope our relationship grows. And I hope if I ever get to the States, that maybe we can sneak down to Jersey and say hello, and I think that would be great. So I appreciate what you've done, even though it is new, and I expect the best. I will do whatever I can do with all 60 subscribers to support what you're doing up there, which, by the way, I'm really impressed with what you've done. Guy got 100,000 hits on an audio rant. Think about that.
Wow.
Think about that. That's really
and
impressive.
50,000 death threats.
He's funny. He can talk, and he fights his Boston accent every time he gets on the radio. But I don't know. I'm all for it. I'm pro accent on this show.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always tough because there's a certain group of people who desire the accent, and then I actually lost a radio job once because they wanted the accent, and I went down there like, all right, it's 95.3, the Sports FM, and da-da-da. And then they were like, oh, well, you said you were from Boston, right? And they wanted, like, a regular guy from Boston. And I was like, I just spent 2 years.
Have a yard.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I really talk. Like, if you watch a rant of mine on video, that's most likely my real accent there, not these things.
Right there. What are you, retarded or something?
Yeah.
I would just cut in on him.
Let's go down to the bar and get some chowder.
Boston Tea Party.
When I was in Florida, I must have, man, you should just put that accent on no matter who you are, because the girls, they're just like, oh, I love that. Like, or they hate it. It's one of the two, like, I can't stand it or they love it. I don't know. You're ugly, but that sounds sexy.
They think
go
you're
down south,
Kennedy.
Southern girls think that.
Yeah.
They're hoping for money. They're hoping for East Coast money.
Yeah.
Okay, this is sort of a plug. We cannot go end the show without thanking John Freeman.
I got like one plug that's a project that I'm working on.
Let me plug him real quick.
You too,
he's
actually.
done all our
Butt
music.
plug?
John Freeman, he's done all our music. He's done all our logos. He's doing everything for next year and what have you. He's not a big hockey fan, but he's been nothing but a huge creative force in the show, and we really appreciate that. John, thank you so much for being such a good friend for well over 20 years now. And when I just asked you, oh, by the way, make me a fucking logo. Boom, it's done. New music's done, and we really appreciate everything that's done for this show this year and hopefully for many years to come. If you got that plug, Jake, then we're gonna end this.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna be. I'm working with one of my friends. He's into like making films and stuff. I'm gonna probably. It's just in talks right now. We're in the middle of writing, but we're gonna start up a mini series. It's gonna be called The Wife Whisperer, where. If you have ever seen the show The Dog Whisperer or My Cat from Hell or Nanny 911, it's going to be the same thing, but I'm going to be playing a character of a guy that goes into houses where wives are just out of control, and I pretty much just tame the wives. And it's so that might be something I'm going to be working on maybe in September.
You got to come to my house first.
That, by the way, hey, did you trademark that? Because you know somebody's going to steal that if they hear that.
Someone's
No.
Really
I
work
do.
on copyright patenting that shit for this summer.
Yeah,
by the way.
we're.
'Cause
I'm
that's
in the
a
middle.
pretty-
I've already have like 3 10-minute webisodes already done in my head.
Oh, really?
That I
Yeah,
just
well,
gotta
get 'em down,
get together with my buddy.
As I've learned from this show, it's tough to transfer. That's a brilliant freaking idea. Even though
It is a good idea.
I hate television and I hate modern comedy and all that other crap and what have you.
Yeah.
I think that's it, boys. It's time to say goodbye to next season. Please, everybody, make sure that you check out some of this work that me and Dave did. Oh, another thing, our other point man, Jersey Jason Letch, one of the reasons he couldn't be here is because he has a baby and he works at midnights, and we hope to get him on regularly on the show in the future. In fact, when Jake decides to up and have babies with Tracy, I figure I'll swap him out for Jason when his baby's a little older. Sound good, Jake?
That sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll swap. So he's actually we really want him to be a big part of the show, and we haven't given up on him. I didn't give up on Jake. I'm certainly not giving up on Jason. I think he'd be perfect for the show and what have you. And just to have a lot of hosts while I'm in Germany is just a great thing because everybody can if things come up we can move on. Hey, listen. I want everybody to remember this. Lockouts, strikes, it doesn't really matter what it is. Multi-million-dollar contracts. Hockey is still a game played by children. It is on the ponds. It is on rollerblades in Ford's Park. It is all over Canada, the Czech Republic, Sweden, and Finland. Never forget where it comes from. What we enjoyed tonight started on a pond. It started in a street, and it starts in the hearts of children all over the world. And we do the lighter side of hockey and refill, but never absolutely forget where that comes from. And I will never forget that. And I hope to see you guys next year. Have a great summer. Stay tuned for the last rant. Hey, goodbye, guys.
See you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Peace.
Bye. Okay, you motherfuckers. See you next year. Peace. All right, everybody. That's it. That's season 1 of A Shot from the Point. Thank you very much again for listening. Like I said before, we added 50 subscribers this year. We really hope to see you next year. And I do have a few more. What is that? Jesus! Oh my God! The hell is that? What's going on? What?
$7 was